Thank you for watching my presentation today. My name is Sanne Gammeren and I am the coordinator of the Old Observatory Leiden, and I'm the Learning and Community Engagement Manager of the Astronomy and Society group of Leiden Observatory in the Netherlands. And today I would like to tell you something about the community strategies to engage the public, and I hope to inspire you to engage the public around your own public observatory in various ways. I was trained as a biologist and a science communicator, and I have met many enthusiastic scientists and fanatics in different fields of science. But I have to tell you that when I started working at the Leiden Observatory about a year ago, I was truly amazed by the passion of the amateur astronomers who were communicating about astronomy in the public observatory. When I started working at the observatory, I didn't know much about astronomy. I wasn't actually sure how to engage with astronomy myself. As a biologist, I was more focused on the things that were happening on our planet instead of outer space. Until I got in touch with these passionate volunteers and how they show you the wonders of the universe through a telescope and make you acquainted with the rings of Saturn or the seas of the moon for the very first time, I think that really ignites a spark. And it is that spark you need to start somebody wonder about astronomy. Here you see some examples of our activities in the Old Observatory. Open days with experiments, design your own alien workshop, and many more. So today I would like to tell you something about the different communities we have within and around the Old Observatory Leiden and how we serve them and how we try to bring them together. I think this quote from Ernesto Ciroli, a political scientist who has a PhD in sustainable development for local enterprise facilitation, really captures our vision of interacting with our community. To start with the community within the Old Observatory, the people who are committed to communicate astronomy to the public. Under the heading of the Old Observatory, we have 4 volunteering groups. We have a unique situation at the Old Observatory. These volunteering groups are also associations, and they are free to use the facilities of the Old Observatory as they wish. So, for example, the group WLS, they maintain the historical telescopes, but they also look at occultations and they do research on that. These groups have their own identity. They have different objectives and they reach different target audiences. And we respect every group and we listen to their specific needs and wishes. We look at their potential and at their specific constraints and opportunities. My colleagues and I listen to the 4 groups and we try to connect these volunteering groups as much as possible if they want to. And also try to join forces. So for example, the WLS, Kaiser and the coordinators, together we organize online stargazing events. We see that these collaborative efforts yield expanded audiences, dynamic and diverse activities, and that the associations become enriched by interacting with new people and content. My colleagues and I act as brokers between these groups, understanding their needs and finding solutions, if possible, within the Old Observatory at other groups. By this, we share resources and knowledge within the community. Now we like to focus on the community around the Old Observatory. The vision of Leiden Observatory is to engage the public in the wonders of the universe and to share the science, technology, cultural and educational aspects of astronomy with society. Instead of operating as a single executor for learning in Leiden, we are part of a larger project in the city to align learning activities and by this promote lifelong learning. Moreover, it is the desire of the local community of educational providers to make science and technology as normal as sports and cultural practice. We are establishing a learning ecosystem in the city and the surrounding areas. On the left of the slide, you see a limited local ecosystem. A child has a path from home to school to a museum, and through the museum, the kid got acquainted with a nature club. But there are no direct connection points with other educational providers like a library or university. The child could better continue learning and get challenged by better connecting the various institutions in the community and matching the various activities from different institutions. In this way, each kid's desire or interest can be noticed by different providers in a very early stage, and the child can be referred to the institution that can blossom the early interest. So, for example, in a well-connected learning ecosystem like the one on the right, a child may develop interest in astronomy. A teacher or a soccer coach or music instructor may notice this and refer the kid to our observatory. This network can also ensure that exchange of activities can be easily achieved. This means that we as an observatory can more easily organize activities at schools, but also that schools, libraries, and after-school care centers can more easily turn to an educational institution if they have specific needs and questions. Here you see some of our activities we organize, and we try to organize different types of activities that happen at different points in the learning ecosystem. So we have activities that happen during school, for example, at our observatory or at schools. We have activities after school time, so for example, the stargazing events. And we're also trying something new, which is more open-ended. So we're setting up a makerspace for astronomy, and a colleague of mine is actually giving that talk also in this conference. And we are collaborating with other museums for a science club and a space club. So before I ask the question, how do we connect these different communities within and around the Old Observatory? And the answer is rather simple. From the same author as before, Ernesto Cirelli, comes another important lesson. Shut up and listen. This sounds quite aggressive, but the message is a little bit more gentle, though urgent. You have to listen to the people and act on what is relevant for them, instead of doing something you are convinced people should want, but haven't asked them. So we listen to our people within Leiden Observatory, and we try to listen to kids, families, and teachers. We try to understand what drives them and what are their needs in regard to science education and more specific astronomy education. We try to serve both the community within the observatory and around. And once we have a clear view on what is relevant for both, we try to connect them. So, for example, we are trying to connect the local libraries with one of our volunteering groups, since the libraries, they would like to expand their inventory with scientific instruments. And the volunteering group, they like to train more families on how to use a telescope themselves. So we try to bring those two groups together and set something up. At this point, it is the hardest to get to talk to the families directly. Mainly due to COVID-19, of course, it is harder to get a direct connection with the public. So we are walking through our ecosystem, trying to find connection points like schools and after-school care centers, and we try to connect with the public and understand their needs, so that we can respond to that with our resources and knowledge. In the end, it's all about the people. Nobody starts a company or a successful initiative by themselves. That's why I would like to close my presentation with a very short interview with one of the volunteering groups.
De werkgroep Leidse Sterrenwacht is mainly what it does. It maintains the historical telescopes of the Leiden Sterrenwacht, and it uses it for outreach activities. The Old Observatory is so special because all the telescopes are the historical telescopes that the astronomers used in their time, and in their time they were the best instruments in the world. There are other communities we're working with, such as the Keizersdispute and the young students, and with another group from Leiden Amateurs Astronomy. And we all work together especially for outreach programs. I like the observatory so much because I can use both my brains and my hands one for maintaining the instruments and trying to understand what's wrong when something is wrong, and on the other hand it helps to explain what astronomy is to people new in the field.
Thank you very much for listening to my presentation. If you would like to exchange ideas or see for opportunities to collaborate, please contact me through my email address. Thank you.